Good evening, Yubo, everybody. We're about to start this evening's Daham Sisila program, the 19th in our series. And to introduce today's program, I kindly invite Dr. Ajit De Silva to say a few words and introduce the monks this evening. Thank you.
Maha Milton Keynes Vihara Stane Vadosana Maha Sangaratning Avasarai. Me Arush Mahatmya Kiwage, Milton Keynes Vihara Stane Mulkaragina, Pavatina Apipatapu, Daham Sisila Satani, Dahanamani Kotasai. ඉතින් මේට සහභාගී වෙන ඔබ සියලු දෙනාම බොහොම ආදරෙන් අද පිළිගන්නවා. මේකට බොහෝ දෙනෙක් අපි රටවල් වලින් මේකට සහභාගී වෙනවා කියලා දන්නවා. දැන් ඉතින් අද මෙහි ඉන්න පින්වතුන් දන්නවා, මිල්ටන් කීන්ස් ආවට ඉන්න පින්වතුන් දන්නවා අපේ දැක්කා වගේ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා 3 නමක් වැඩ සිටිනවා. ඒ කවුද? ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් අපේ මාතර වැවුරු කන්නල රජමහා විහාරාධිපති අතිපූජනීය පණ්ඩිත දික්වැලි සීලසුමන ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ, ඒ වගේම අපේ විහාරස්ථානාධිපති අතිපූජනීය දික්වැල්ලේ සමාවෙන්න අතිපූජනීය අකුරල සමිත ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ, ඒ වගේම අපිට බොහොම වාසනාවට වගේ මේ කාලේ වැඩ අපිත් එක්ක වැඩ වාසය කරනවා විහාරස්ථානයේ Reverend Dr. Siri පණ්ඩිත හාමුදුරුවෝ. ඉතින් දැන් මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කියන්න ඕන මේ අපි කවුරුත් දන්නවා මේ අහලා තියෙනවා මේ අර buy one get one free කියලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේ මේක බොහොම අපූර්ව අවස්ථාවක්. අපේ සීලසුමන හාමුදුරුවෝ විතරක් කියපු ධර්ම දේශනාව වෙනුවට දැනට අපිට හාමුදුරුවෝ 3 නමක් buy one get two free වගේ. ඉතින් මේ බොහොම අපූර්වයි. එතකොට මේ පොඩි කාරණා සඳහන් කරන්න තියෙනවා, කාරණා දෙකක් විතර. දැනට අපිට එකම දවසේ තව ඉතුරුලා තියෙන්නේ එන 16 වෙනිදා ධර්ම දේශනාවක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට දායකත්වය ලබාගෙන ඉන්නවා 23 වෙනිදා පමණයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔබට කැමති නම් අපේ සීලසුමන හාමුදුරුවන්ගෙන් ධර්ම දේශනාවක් දායකත්වය ගන්න 23 වෙනිදා කරුණාවෙන් ඒක අපිට දන්නන්න. මේ එකට සම්බන්ධව බොහෝම සංවේදනීය කාරණයක් තමයි අපේ සීලසුමන ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ ගැන කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒ තමයි අපේ කාගේත් ඉමහත් ගෞරවයට, භක්තියට සහ පුද පූජාවට ලක් වූ, ඒ වගේම කාගේත් ඉමහත් ප්‍රශංසාවට ලක් වූ, අපිට බොහෝම දයාවෙන් කරුණාවෙන් කියා නිම කළ නොහැකි ඉමහත් සේවයක් කළ මිල්ටන් කීන්ස් ජනතාවට පමණ නෙවෙයි මුළු ලෝක ජනතාවටම මේ Zoom මාර්ගයේ ඔස්සේ සේවය කරපු අප අතිපූජනීය පඬිත දික්වැල්ලේ සීලසුමන ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ අපෙන් සමුගෙන ආපහු ලංකාවට වැඩීමයි. උන්වහන්සේ වඩින්නේ ලංකාවට 31 වෙනිදා. ඉතින් 23 විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔබ කාට හරි උන්වහන්සේගේ සිංහල ධර්ම දේශනාවක් අහන්න කැමති නම් ඒක කරුණාකරලා දායකත්වය ලබා ගන්න. හොඳයි. අද බොහොම අපූර්ව මාතෘකාවක් තියෙන්නේ. මම වැඩි වෙලා ගත කරන්නේ අපේ සමිත හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේට ඒ ධර්ම දේශනාව පටන් ගන්න. ඒ ගැන මම හිතන්නේ අද දැන් උන්වහන්සේට කලින් ප්‍රථමව අපේ ડોક્ટર සුමන සිරි හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ පොඩි දේශනයක් කරලා සමිත හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ ඊළඟ දේශනය. හැබැයි මම කාගෙන් ආරාධනා කර සිටිනවා ඔබලාට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න කරුණා කළා අන්තිමට ධර්ම දේශනාවට පස්සේ අපිට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. මොකද ගියේ පාර බොහොම අපූර්ව විදියට ඒ ප්‍රශ්න කතා කරලා බොහොම කට්ටිය එක ප්‍රශංසාවට ලක් වුණා. So please ask questions at the end of our Akurala Samitha's Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much. බොහොම ස්තුතියි ස්වාමීන් අවසරයි හාමුදුරනේ.
Namo Buddhaya. Blessings of the noble Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha to you all. It's great pleasure once again in this evening of Sunday to be with you all, to host another very successful Dhamma program, Daham Sisila, the 19th program. We are very lucky to have the presence of another two very eminent scholar monks and also very senior monks. I respectfully welcome the Venerable monks, especially the most Venerable Dickwelle Seelasumana Pandita Hamuduro, the former principal of Buduraja Maha Vihara at Vavuru Kannala Temple in Mathara, also the advisor to Berlin Buddhist Vihara in Germany. As our Dr. Ajit De Silva mentioned, he was a great contributor to this special program. Also together with us, our most venerable Dr. Sumana Siri Nayaka Thera. He was born in Malaysia, brought up both in Malaysia and Singapore, and had the basic education very successfully, always been ahead of his age in Sri Lanka, and studies over 5 universities, received 3 doctorates from 3 universities. He speaks over 11 languages and understands over 16 languages, which means he traveled over 65 countries. Well-versed, well-experienced Buddhist monk. And as you all know, he did a very good talk last week, and this week his voice is not that good, but he is still making a short contribution for us. So I respectfully welcome both senior Buddhist monks on behalf of our community and also Milton Keynes Buddhist Vihara. Before we start, it's also very important to mention the sponsors, without which we would not have come this far, and also the temple would not survive at these difficult times. Most of our contributions to survive and keep the temple activities going was dropped due to this pandemic and serious problems. But we are very grateful to all our dayakas who make the standing orders to the temple to provide the welfare of the monks. In return, we would like to be very grateful and return our blessings for you all. So this program you can sponsor in the future programs to share the Dhamma, sharing the teachings of the Buddha or some spiritual teachings for the progress and welfare of our life, of our society, is the highest given according to Buddhist teachings or in common sense. So today that highest blessing is being shared by Mrs. Puspa Kalubovila and Kalubovila family. They have a very graceful aspiration being added into this occasion, and they wanted to send all the hearts and minds of around the world. So many people, over 34 people already been joined from all different parts of the world to join this special occasion, to wish a big greeting to Samitha Kalubovila, Sam Kalubovila, on his big birthday, 40th. He's getting old, unfortunately. So it's a very proud thing as parents to sponsor and host this special occasion to wish him the very best of good health, protection, success, and many, many happy returns on this 40th birthday, with the power of noble blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and all the objects of veneration, sacred Bodhi tree, relics of Buddha and Arahant, as they believe culturally how powerful those things being Buddhist. So they wanted to bring that spirit. In addition, to get this panel of very educated monks and also the Dhamma discussions, please ask some questions at the end of the talk. That is what makes it more meaningful and practical. So This reminds me what Mrs. Pushpa Kalubowila wrote. Sam is our eldest son, is reaching 40 years in end of August. You all have been part of his arrival to celebrate with us our immense happiness all the way. So the children is a great happiness to parents, and they even after 40 years, how wonderful. You can't get that sentiment from the parents unless you've been a good son. So therefore, they wanted to bring all the family to Kalubowila family want to bring all the blessings to Samitha and his family, and to all the grandchildren and children, and also to those who are joining far and wide. So what a great way of wishing happy birthday at this time of diverse world. You know, what a meaningful way to do it. If everybody can think like this, the world would have been much different. So without further ado, I will observe the 5 precepts. I will administer the 5 precepts first to join this program. After that, I would very respectfully invite our most venerable Dr. Sumana Siri Nayaka Hamuduro to make a short reflection. So we really can't miss him by being here because he travels quite a lot, and we want to get them opportunity to share some wisdom of him at this moment. So he was very humble to and also generous to contribute 10 minutes reflection before we start the main talk. So now please say Namo Tassa 3 times to observe the 5 precepts to start the program.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyang pi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyang pi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyang pi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyang pi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyang pi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyang pi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranang gacchāmi.
Panati pata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Pānātipātā vērmani sikkhapadam samādhiyāmi.
Adinna dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinādāna vērmani sikkhapadam samādhiyāmi.
Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācārā vērmani sikkhapadam samādhiyāmi.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musāvādā vērmani sikkhapadam samādhiyāmi.
Surā mēraya majja pamādaṭṭhānā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surāmēraya majjapamādaṭṭhānā vērmani sikkhapadam samādhiyāmi.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May I invite you all to sit in 2 minutes meditation, because it's a very wonderful opportunity for us to gain lot of wisdom, and without our stillness of the mind, calmness of the mind, we can't really concentrate. So let us bring our hearts and minds together, make the most of this beautiful occasion. Sit comfortable. Make your body relax. Simply be experiencing sitting here and now. As the body gets relaxed, you will start to feel comfortable and letting that stress out from the body that makes you happy. The highest medicine, let that happiness to heal every part of the body. Slowly breathe in. Slowly breathe out, relaxing the body. Breathe slowly in. Breathe slowly out, relaxing the body. Breathe with the happiness slowly in. With the happiness, slowly breathe out, relaxing the body. Now slowly bring the palms jointly together, close to your heart. Open the eyes and say Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. I would very respectfully invite our Reverend Dr. Sumana Siri, Nayaka Thera, to make a reflection.
Reverend says, sisters and brothers in the Dhamma, I'm glad to be here today to give a small preface into the topic that will be dealt with by Reverend Akurala Samitha Nayaka Thera. The issues that he is going to raise, the relevance of the Buddhist views for a modern society. The British census statistics of 2011 have indicated that the number of Buddhists in the United Kingdom is approximately 250,000. Compared to 10 years before that, Buddhist culture, as such being a universalistic teaching, allows non-Buddhist elements, not anti-Buddhist, non-Buddhist, in order to modernize Buddhism as a holistic religion for the 21st century. The religion which has no relevance to all times and climes suffers. So therefore, that flexibility and adaptability, following the principles of everything is subject to change, applies to Buddhism as well. The relevance of Buddhism to the modern social context lies in the fact that it offers a philosophy called middle way that recognizes in the principle the norms of scientific rationality while rejecting both the extreme materialistic worldview of modern science and the metaphysical and dogmatic extremism of traditional religion. Modern science does not provide us with the knowledge of what is morally right or wrong, what is morally good or bad. When these concerns are absent, and the morally good life is also not absent, then the desire to live well becomes an issue. For the modern man, Buddhism provides a rationally justifiable moral ethics and also a very interesting goal to achieve that. If we are to take further than Britain, if I were to quote the American market for the provision of meditation related services, the value now is more than $1 billion and it's growing. So this shows how to modern life that ancient wisdom of the Buddha is still relevant. The scientific worldview attaches no significance to the importance of morality. Morality is considered as a matter of attitudes and emotions. Moral values are considered to be relative and subjective. According to this view, only empirical facts that you can experience are considered as objectivity. Therefore, man is considered by science and technology as a mere stimulus response mechanism. The problems of modern society is a consequence of the separation of scientific knowledge and technological skill from that ancient moral wisdom of India. But if you just see at existentialists, the great thinkers of the last century, like the German existentialist Karl Jaspers, he wrote in 1975 in the book called The Great Philosophers, he recommended that Western Christians could learn from Buddhism, and he praised the Buddha's cosmopolitanism and flexibility and the Buddha's relatively non-dogmatic worldview of how he expressed his philosophy. So we can see that relevance very greatly. For the matter of fact, that in the United Kingdom, we have more than 700 Buddhist organizations in different forms, north, south, east, and west. With this preface, I pass the mic on to Reverend Samitha to continue with his discourse. Sadhu.
Thank you very much, Ante, for that wonderful reflection. We all are attending to the Daham Sisila program, a program to share the teachings of the Buddha. When we say teachings of the Buddha, people may think in a religious, spiritual context. But when Buddha was introducing it, it was not as such a religion. He was very much even beyond the philosophy. It's a way of life. When we think of way of life, we do reflect on this life, even life after. However, what Buddha very clearly mentioned, if you do not have a good life here and now, you would not have a good past, you would not have a good future. So the purpose, the practice of the teachings of the Buddha is to make a very successful life here and now. Today, this Daham Sisila program is being sponsored to share the merits and blessings with son of a mother who marked the milestone of the 40th. Therefore, I try to bring that little bit of historical teachings without diluting it. If we dilute too much, you don't get neither milk nor water. So therefore, we need to respect some cultural understanding without which we can't really get some deep level of understanding. Also, I would refer it to modern world, modern day society, as our title today, the relevance of Buddha's teaching to issues of today. So what are the issues we have? People says we don't have any problems. Some people are overwhelmed with problems. One who wrote a very good commentary to the teachings of the Buddha called Most Venerable Buddha Gosa. That book is called Visuddhimagga, the path of purification. Start addressing this issue. Anto jata bahijata. Internal problems, external problems. Jataya jatita paja. We are being tangled and entangled with problems. So therefore, he requests our Lord Buddha to put some light, shed some shine to our wisdom, to understand these problems, also to make the life more peaceful and successful. In answer to that, it explains 3 trainings: morality training, concentration training, which is meditation, wisdom training. To make a life successful, first thing is to have a good base of morality, moral life. Second thing is have a cultivation of mind, purification of mind. The last one is wisdom. So therefore, as we talk about issues of today, there may be a lot of issues. We have issues how to bring a good relationship with our families, with our children, with our teachers, as citizens and as human beings, how we deal with our environmental things, how we deal with our racial prejudices, which we heard recently, Black Lives Matter. Buddha, what mentioned is a person become into a race not necessarily by birth, but by actions. So the character is being formed not because of the origin of the birth, but because of the behavior of the person. Also, there are some modern issues like social exploitation, modern slavery, ultra low wages, 0 hours contracts. But the answer of the Buddha is highly profound, which mentioned a lack of loving kindness, lack of compassion, also lack of understanding about the right livelihood. People are very, in a capitalistic society, think very selfish way and lack of generosity. Some other burning issues that we face, women's equality. Buddha was the first religious teacher in the history to allow females to join to the order. There is no between a woman and a man who has reached a certain milestone in the path in attainment of spiritual status. Also, there is a big problem in the society we face today is drugs and alcoholism, which has been a threat to our humanity, also to our economy. The answer from the Buddha's teaching is very simple: to abide by 5 precepts, which I will explain a little bit more later. Another big issue that we all experience today, homelessness. You know, family is a wonderful unit. While we are celebrating a 40th birthday of the eldest son, we have seen a lot of homeless. Family neglect of children who run away. People down on their lack of compassion. And as you may have heard the discourse on blessing, Mangala Sutta, they can go into wrong association, wrong societies. Programs like this enables our children to engage in dialogues with venerable monks. That is the greatest duty of parents, to provide that opportunities, which is not easy. You need to make some effort for that. Also, there are some human emotional problems like anger, biggest problem inside of the house. Even outside on the road rage, people go into flames. How can we control those emotional things, which I, as a Buddhist monk, has the fortunate to communicate with a lot of local community here, because I teach mindfulness meditation. Within 2-3 weeks of practice of the course, one of the very important thing they mention, that they are no longer being angry and being under the road rage. You know, even at the household, they become very kind and patient people, not struggling with all these emotional problems. And also sexual exploitation of women, children, lack of respect towards others, of course uncontrolled mind, greed, burning desires. You know, people are never satisfied. They don't have a smile because they are carrying a lot of luggages on their shoulders. They don't have a life. As Buddha mentioned in the Majjhima Nikaya, Magandhya Sutta, to have these defilements like greed, desire, is like a leper who has this illness, may get a satisfaction temporary, but the pain is enduring, suffers a lot. Also, we as human beings experience a lot of domestic violence because of lack of this anger control, anger management, also lack of our values. When you join with us online, you turn your household into a spiritual temple. That has a lot of blessings. So these can eliminate some negative energies and brings more harmony instead of domestic violence or abuse. Also, we can't really undermine the international issues and exploitation of poor nations by the wealthy countries. In fact, we are very happy to join in a very moderate of spiritual dialogue, but there is a big problem of religious extremism, terrorism, as people follow things blindly, blind faith. Lord Buddha's teachings are great because he approached even serial killers like Angulimala and turned them into a saints. How wonderful. Your mind can once be a very violent, the criminal mind. And with the practice, you can turn into a spiritual saint-like mind. Nothing is possible according to Buddhism. We talk about neuroscience. Our brain is plasticity. We call neuroplasticity. That can change. What we need is right environment, right guidance, and good parenting. That helps to what psychology says, new brain and old brain. You can have a brand new brain. Also, there are lots of problems, issues about ethnic conflicts. A lot of manipulations going on. If you think of the 4 precepts in the 5 precepts, lying, disputing in between the communities, which we regard as great sins, because we are brothers and sisters no matter what we believe, what we practice. We need to live together in harmony. That is why we host these programs to bring that mindset, attitudes, understanding. So therefore, when we listen more and more into those things, it allows us to develop more. I would not take a lot of time here because I really want to open this up as a dialogue that people can involve and ask any questions. As it is, we talk about life and issues we experience. Of course, it's endless to go into the universe to talk about political issues, talk about economic issues, environmental issues. However, those are very externalizing our understanding. Buddha mentioned, once you go within, you can find the happiness. You can't find the happiness externally because happiness exists in within. So this is introverted reflection, what Buddhism is all about. If you change yourself, you change the society. Many people always hold the wrong end of it, but Lord Buddha's teachings is very wise to make us, if you hold the snake in the wrong end, you would not make much. Instead, you will make yourself in danger. So at the time of the Buddha, in the city called Savatnuara in India, there was a small boy, and he once approached his father and asked an interesting question. He asked, what are the secrets for progress? The father was very happy to hear the son was asking such things. And he said, this is a very interesting question. I will find out the best answer for that. Many people, we say, I don't know, just leave me alone, go and find it out. I met a young boy and he said that his grandfather said an interesting thing to him. I asked what? The grandfather once asked this young boy, where is the post office? This little boy said, Grandpa, I don't know. Then grandfather said, next time, please don't say that. Say always, I really don't know, but I will find out and I will let you know. This is how the knowledge, values are being transferred from generation to generation. So this father went into every educated spiritual people and asked these questions on behalf of the son. And then eventually somebody said that there is a great teacher called Lord Buddha. So he went there and said to the Lord Buddha, everybody asked this, I asked from everyone, I didn't get a satisfactory answer. So please help my child to get to know the factors for progress. Then Buddha delivered a Jataka story called Attassa Dwara Jataka, the Jataka story. And that explain very beautiful factors for progress. You may undermine these are kind of historical, we know these things, but if you go deeper, scientifically, neuroscientifically, even sociologically and even economically, these are very powerful. That is why I try to bring this, share these teachings of the Lord Buddha on this talk for you. Arogya micche paramancha labang, Seelancha Buddhanu matang sutancha, Dhammanuvatticha alinatacha, Attassa dwara pamuka jalenti. He said the arogya micche paramancha labang. Good health is the highest gain or the wealth. How many of us really think of the health? We talk about Buddhism is maybe like attaining arahanthood and all. Nothing is possible if you do not look after your health. Health is wealth, our Dr. Sumana Sri mentioned. And he says, wealth is not health. Many people are going like a rat race, like headless chickens, day in, day out. Money is very important. Wealth is very important, but being greedy and over greedy, that you destroy your good health. You can't buy the health. That is very important. Just think of modern world today. I was in a conference with the doctors at the Medical Society, and what they said, we have all the highly equipments, all the technology, but all the professionals, all this technology can provide us only 30%. And that professionals were saying the 70% comes from spirituality. Spirituality is not just mere religion or something. Our humanity, our values, our connections, our relationships, that is the most important thing. So the health, Buddha said to this young boy, is the first asset for the progress. There are powerful things like political powers, maybe your wealth powers, maybe properties, maybe families may be very strong, maybe your professionalism, but everything is secondary at the platform of health. Life is very dark if you do not look after your health, and it with what is called suffering. We can be ill, but we can maintain our good health. We all subject to illnesses. Now nobody has gone beyond. Is a great reflection. Buddha encouraged especially monks to recollect day in, day out. There are two types of health according to Buddhist teachings: mental health and physical health. One can be ill due to seasonal things, infections, and also visama pariharaja, which means due to bad behavior, the behavior of life. Due to that, one can lose their health. Also, karma vipakaja. Due to some sort of actions and consequences, one can get ill in the previous births. According to Buddhist teachings, just to keep it in very short, most of those karmas, the illnesses can be healed, but it's very difficult for the karma vipakaja, which means illnesses that caused by karma vipaka to be healed. So interesting thing that young children I invite, you are very logical, very rational, to reflect those causes. Buddha mentioned where we can lose our health. So therefore, to keep our health is a great asset, and among them, to keep our mental health is very important. As you know that we are going through the very hardest time. Even one of the participants of the last night meditation program said that she hasn't given a hug or seen grandchildren for now nearly five months, which makes her very hard to live. As a society, we are very close. You know, I know that even 3 days ago, one family wanted to bring a dana because one of their best friends took her life due to lockdown stress, depression. So the mental health is a big issue in the modern world. Even especially, you know, taxpayers' money is being hugely, vastly used to overcome the mental health problems. Let us go a little bit into the Buddhist teachings. Why we are struggling this much? You know, these teachings are very beautiful, and it is free. It doesn't cost anything. Like greed, hatred, desires, as mentioned in the different suttas, the person can lose the mental health. It directly affects our physical health as well. Even psychosomatic disorders or some sort of cardio problems are very much related to anxieties, stress, a lot of mental health issues. Eventually, it can even develop as cancers. Very dangerous thing, but they are very simple. By applying few minutes meditation can make a big difference. Also, we all have normal human tendencies like ego, pride, you know, superior mentality, or in fact sometimes, you know, inferior mentalities can cause jealous, hatred. We are living in a world of such impurities and defilements. That is why these type of practices, reflections, teachings are widely important to share to make our life safe. In return to overcome those mental health, Lord Buddha mentioned about practicing, developing, cultivating 4 sublime qualities: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity. Those are the 4 sublime qualities. You know, it may sound simple. Even in the neuroscience today, we call compassion therapy being developed in the Oxford University. Professor Mark William, Professor Paul Gilbert, they are working very hard. They don't teach much, just this one, these 4 sublime qualities. They call this compassion therapy. And they have done a lot of researches neuroscientifically to prove that can make a big difference in our brain, in our life, in our health. So in addition to those 4 sublime qualities, helping others, be happy with others' success. If you can be not happy with others' success, which is a quality from parents. Parents are really happy to see their children doing better than them. That is what we call mudita. Helping others to ease their suffering, you know, standing with them when they're going through hard times, doing wholesome deeds. I was reflecting on what the job Sam is doing. I was very proud of his you know, charitable contributions into the community as a profession. he was doing a rewarding job. So that is what we should be always making our life into more social cohesion and social development, and that is a wonderful thing to see. Also, to have the association of spiritual people, monks and good teachers is very important to develop our mental health. That was the first quality taught by the Lord Buddha to this young boy, to as a one of the 6 important things that one should abide by to the development or progress. And then to make your mind strong at these calamities, at these things, we call have an unshaken mind on 8 vicissitudes is very important thing. So mind, sanity and insanity is just a tiny line. Anybody can cross it. So therefore, practices, especially understanding the 8 vicissitudes, puttassa loka dhammehi chittang yassana kampati, great teachings that we need to reflect on, which means, we going through gain, we going through loss. But the point, just accept it. And fame and ill fame, which is common. If you can maintain a balanced mind on those things, praise and blame, no, that is how it is. This world is like that. Happiness and sad. This can knock you down, this can lift you up, but if one can maintain the balance, the person wins here and even hereafter. So therefore, this healthy mind is a divine blessing, divine medicine, in fact. So look after the mental health. Otherwise, the stress is a great killer. Therefore, a few minutes meditation, few minutes practice, learning from the great teachers, Buddhist monks, is very important thing that brings the first golden quality called the good health. The second quality Buddha said, Seelancha, morality, good behavior. We talk about behavioral science, behavior therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, this mind, body, speech, these 3 units to be disciplined is what we call the morality. Especially the speech, we call uploading things. We use a lot of our words, which can be very draining. That is how many of us kind of release the stress. They pick the phone talking to somebody, but that is not, we only practice something called noble silence in meditations. When you come out of that, you feel very empowered, very wise. So therefore, this speech, Buddha mentioned that we should avoid 4 wrong speeches: lying, frivolous talks, which means useless things, hurtful talks, slanders, talking bad of others. That brings a lot of harmony into oneself and to the society. Even if you want to talk, it was very interesting what Buddha explained in the Samma Vacha, the right speech. You need to think whether it is the right place. Even though it is the right place, it is the truth. Even though it is the truth, whether it is the right time. Even if it is right time, right place, the truth, are we speaking gently? So these things into a family environment is wonderful, especially to keep your relationships. And you don't have to say, in words. You can just bring a lot of different techniques by reflecting on teachings to resolve issues that we experience in the modern life, modern world. Just reflect on 5 precepts. Morality is the best as a normal average people, 5 precepts, and it encourages us to stop. We talk about abuses, violence, things like that. In the household, people are having a lot of difficult relationships. The first precept is not just a religious thing. It has a positive 5 aspect: respecting life, respecting the dignity of people is very important. So the first precept, not to harm, not to kill, not to hurt living beings. Second thing is protecting others' wealth, not to steal, and developing the trust, not to misuse or misconduct in sensual sexual pleasures. If we adopt by those things, we can have a wonderful family life, society. The fourth one I explained about lying. Speech is a powerful than a sword. Last one, not the least, the alcohol, drinks, intoxicants, the highest problem. Even if you go to mental health, people who are struggling with mind, they eventually go into wrong things, unwholesome things. The cheapest, most available thing is alcohol, drugs, smoking. Very dangerous. 98% of mental health problems either comes from or being worst because of the breaking of the fifth precepts. By being in an environment, monks, our Dhamma teachers talk about this, and it helps us to not to be fallen into those things. That is why these Dhamma programs are very important. So our Lord Buddha mentioned this as the second factor for the life to be successful: have a good moral background. It's like a foundation of a house. You can't build any house without a proper foundation. So the morality, Sila, is the foundation of life. Which life can you build without a good foundation? That morality comes from 3 sources. One, the first one is the family. What you learn from your parents, from your household environments. Then you go to the school. That is the second culture that you get nurtured. That should be the excellent environment. Then third, your religious or social environments. That is the 3 units, social units, that a person get cultured. If they are practicing moral values in those 3 contexts, and they get a success, progress, not only that, even they are being blessed by divines, angels, So you count lot of blessings, visibly, invisibly, by abiding those things. Number 3, the secret of success, Lord Buddha mentioned to this young boy: respect elders. Spiritual peoples, our parents, many people, the today's, they don't care of their elders or parents. Sometimes, we were brought up in our culture, we stand when our elders come. If we are sitting, we always offer our seat to them. But today we see that a little bit of a landslide, little bit sliding, missing of these values. And also, don't forget those who help you. Be grateful. Those who are in morality, knowledge, values, elders, and also those who have the life experiences, associating them is what we call respect elders. Among them, our mothers, our parents are great. We need to have a proper relationship. In fact, Buddha said they are the best friend. Just imagine today you are celebrating your 40th birthday. Just think of how it was 40 years ago. 9 months you were in the mother's belly as a little baby. How many pains, suffering, how much difficulties she might have gone through. I think on a birthday, rather getting gift from them, we need to give them a big hug, great appreciation, for going through so much. No person than our mother and father goes through that. They do it out of love, you know, that's power of love. She goes through a lot of hardships. She doesn't complain about it. Once I heard a child was asked by the mom to clean the house, and the child said, I need 2 pounds to do it. Then mother wrote a note, I gave you milk, I gave you food, I gave you clothes, I kept you in my tummy for 9 over months, and everything was free. You know, we are in a very materialistic world. And there was another boy went into a job interview, and that boy was going through the interview. The director of the company was so shocked to see all the credentials, doctorates, very young boy. The director asked to get these higher qualifications, the best of all the abilities. Who sponsored you? This young boy said, sir, I didn't get a single sponsorship. It was my mommy and daddy helped me. Then this director was asked, what does your mommy and daddy do? And you know, he was coming from a very poor family, and he said, they are very simple. My mom and dad works in a stone factory. They cut the stones. It's a very hard job, and that is how they fund my education. You know, this can take as symbolically, your mom or dad may be doing another job, but it is hard because they're doing it with love and affection to bring. It's not easy thing to bring a child up. So this director stopped the interview and said, have you ever seen the palms of your mother and father? This boy said, no, sir. Then go and have a look. That was the time, in 30 years' time, tears came into his eyes to see the cuts, bruises, the hardships in their palms to bring this child. And the boy went and said, sir, even if I do not get this job, I am very grateful. I will look after them. So the director said, this company flourish goes beyond over the success because we abide by values. So therefore, I will offer you this highly paid job with one promise. You got to look after your parents. You know, there was another story. One boy was going for an interview. He saw the gates were open. He, as enters, closed the gate. He saw some tap was left the water wasting. He closed that tap. And when he was going through further, he saw the lights were on. He switched that off, went into the interview room. There were so many people, they were reading books, but this child was very relaxed, very calm. His turn came, and the interview board asked the first question, when you want to start the job? This boy said, sir, I did not show you any qualification of mine. You did not ask any question from me, but you are asking when I would like to start the job. So the panel said, we watched how these people are behaving through our CCTVs, and we saw that when you were entering, close the gate. When you were entering, close the tap. When you were entering, switch off the lights, and you were a great concerned person. So we don't have to see your credentials and qualifications. We already have seen your CV, but we want to see whether you are behaving good. You are a person who cares for others and environments. By that time, this young boy's tears came in, and the interview people asked, why you are crying? Sir, it was my mommy, particularly the daddy, made me very hard when I was wasting electricity, when I was wasting some water. It was a bit difficult by that time, but their hard effort, strong advice made me receive this job. I'm very grateful for them. That day, it was very painful. I really don't want it. It was very annoying. But today, it was rewarding. So therefore, associating elders and respect people is very important thing, as our Lord Buddha mentioned. And then next one, the number 4, to have the right education and good experience is very important. If you are not educated, do not have the right education, you would not have a light and brightness in your life. So therefore, don't waste the time and make yourself educated and also well experienced. Reflect the quality of the Lord Buddha called Vijja Charana. And the 5th one that Lord Buddha mentioned, being lazy. He says, Panyaya Maggang Alasona Vindati. Those who are lazy, which means, we called Virya, there is a Samma Virya, their effort. Even in the 37 factors of enlightenment, over 9 times Buddha mentioned about that we need to have the great energy, great effort to make something up. The lazy people would not make much in their life. So their wisdom will not develop. So those 5 things mentioned by the Lord Buddha to this young boy, and said, in a previous life, you asked the same question. At the time of King Brahmadatta, you were born into a rich, wise family. And when you were 7 years old, you asked the question, what is the secret for the success? And I taught you by that time 6 factors for the progress. What are those 6 factors? Good health, moral life, respect elders, well experience and good educational qualifications in life, righteous life, also being not lazy. Those are the important 6 qualities, especially for all of you, and also to Sam Kalubovile. Today, this is my gift for you. These 6 good qualities that you can reflect in your life. And with that, I will finish my talk, which I have taken nearly 35 minutes, and open up our questions and answers. Our Dr. Ajit De Silva will kind of lead that. And also after that, our most venerable Seelasumana Hamuduru share very important teachings of the Lord Buddha in Sinhala for the benefit of our devout Buddhist friends in Sinhala. As Dr. Ajit mentioned, our Seelasumana Hamuduru made a very good contribution by bringing these 19 times of the Dhamma Sisila programs, sharing lot of teachings. Perhaps those who don't understand Sinhala, you can still listen and get someone to kind of translate to you, because Wat Hamudru is a very educated monk, and he is sharing a lot of valuable teachings. So thank you very much for listening, participating this Dhamma Sisila program. May the blessings and merits be with Mr. Sam Kalubovila family, and may you all be well, happy and peaceful. Thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu. That was a wonderful talk by both the Bantes, and our Dr. Siri gave a fantastic, wonderful introduction, a preface to the talk, and Samitha Hamdru explained in detail. So I would like to now invite anyone with questions. You may just speak up, and or you can send a message through chat. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can send a message to us, and then we can take that up and present it on your behalf. So I'll leave it open to those with questions, please, to come forward.
Just to note and to add to what Ajit De Silva just said, if you would like to ask your question through the microphone. If you can use the raise hand feature of Zoom, I'll be able to unmute you so you can speak directly. But you can also ask your questions through the chat feature. Thank you.
I think they are just comments of saying how much they enjoyed the. We are waiting for questions.
Hello, I'm Dasal.
Yes, Dasal.
Hi there. I wanted to say it's a very nice sermon, firstly. Thank you so much. We enjoyed. We didn't really mention like the universe so much in this sermon. I want to understand how it can fit into some of these teachings, the universe at large.
Do you mean the physical universe that we live in?
That's right.
Okay.
And how that can fit into the context of Buddhism.
Of Buddhism, how does the universe fit into the context of Buddhism?
Correct.
The Buddha's teaching was meant not only for Asia or Southeast Asia or South Asia or Sri Lanka or India. He has practiced throughout his many lives and become a bodhisattva and enlightened. And his entire idea was that his message to reach to everybody. From that point of view, what he preached was a universal message which the entire cosmos can enjoy. He was the great teacher not only for human beings, for devas and brahmas, that means higher spirits in the heavens and other realms. He was teacher to them, one of his great qualities. So therefore the teachings that he taught for 45 years entails not only with human beings in India or in the surrounding countries, but for those who are wherever they are. The reason is, whether we are in the east or whether we are in the west or whether we are in the north or south, the predicament of human beings that everybody suffers and everybody seeks happiness is the same. So the teachings has to relate to every individual wherever they are, or even to the gods and the angels as well, and others in the realms where they can listen and want to benefit. In fact, his mother passed away and after his birth, and later on in his life, he went far up to the heavens to preach to his mother. And when he was reluctant to preach the first sermon, from the Brahma heavens came the highest abiding spiritual being and invited him. So therefore the teachings of the Buddha has a universal appeal because it's meant for everybody. You need not be a Buddhist to practice the virtues, the morality, the ethics of the Buddha. Any human being can practice and remain what he wants to be.
Thank you so much, Bhante, for that wonderful explanation. Dasal, may I inquire whether you were Bhante's ideas of universal application of the Buddha's teachings? Perhaps you were also interested in where Buddhism links with the physical universe. Is that correct? That's all? All I wanted to say.
Hello, sorry. Yes, that's correct. I'd like to.
Okay.
Potentially things that could, like the origins of the universe and the vastness of it.
Well, I think unfortunately you missed. We had a special sermon. The Buddha has described the whole of the universe in a sutta called the Agganna Sutta. And the beginning, the wonderful thing that came out, in fact, I was doing a little bit of sort of research into looking up what Buddha has explained, and came across a wonderful similarity between the latest modern findings of the universe and what Buddha has described. The three stages of the universe. We live in a galaxy, which is the Milky Way. We have a galactic cluster, that is a large number of galaxies in as a group, 1,000 galaxies, and then the large there are such clusters where galactic clusters conglomerate. There's an aggregation of galactic clusters, which is called a galactic supercluster. Now, this the description of the universe is what's being taught in universities. Whereas, if you look at the Buddha's teaching, he teaches precisely the same, that there are three groups of Sakwala. He didn't use the word galaxy, he used the word Sakwala, and he gives different Pali words. And that really astounded me when I came across it. So we've had a whole discussion done by our Seelasumana Bante Hamduro, and we got that, and I can
I'll have to find that sermon and listen.
I will try and find a link to that and get in touch with Mrs. Kalbovila. Thank you. And we have another question. Right, it's from Sue. I consider myself to be spiritual rather than religious. Is in that context, where does religion belong in my life? Is being a decent human being enough?
In our Buddhist way of thinking, we don't divide the word spirituality and religion as different. No doubt it may not be same in the English context, but what we mean by religion is part of that greater spirituality. There is always an argument that Buddhism is not a religion, and this is not true also. If you think about not speaking a creator, and because of that it is not a religion, but Buddhism has a lot of religious aspects in its culture, in its prayer, in its ritual as well. Buddhism entails all these aspects of religion and spirituality. It is more a spirituality, no doubt, rather than a religion. So if you are following and you're asking at the same time whether being a decent person, human, is good enough, certainly it is better than nothing, but then you need to develop certain ethical and moral qualities if you want to go higher as a person going beyond, rather than just remaining in a neutral position towards morality.
Thank you, Bhante. We have another question from Priya. First of all, the message says, Venerable Sirs, thank you for the insightful and timely sermon. And it says, and the message says, we chant a gatha to wish that the leaders are pious, Raja Bauta Dhammiko. Today we see societies suffer immensely because of unwise actions of leaders of countries. Could you please comment on this in the context of Buddhist teaching? Thank you.
Simply chanting the gathas won't do, and making wishes that the rulers, prime ministers and presidents and ministers of a country will run the country. The rulers have to read into what they call the social or political philosophy of the Buddha very deeply, and be very decent and equitable, and also look forward to an egalitarian society without over-politicizing, having compassion, and having good ethics in their physical, vocal, and mental actions in order to have good governance. So the basic principles we need not spell it out here. Many of you understand what is Buddhism, and the rulers of our Buddhist countries also know that they just have to follow those wonderful universal values.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question, Lakshman would like to ask the next question. Go ahead, please.
Oh, hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yeah, I sometimes find it difficult to have peace of mind knowing that I live in a comfortable house. I got, plentiful food, and I've got no worries. But all around me, you know, my relatives may not be as well off. My neighbors may not be. I see sort of suffering in Yemen, billions of people destitute and starving. How can we have peace of mind knowing about all the suffering that other people are going through?
The first thing, you have to be conscious that everybody have a right to become happy. And when you have a little bit extra, you may share with them and see the joy of letting go what you possess. It doesn't mean that you have to forget yourself and be over altruistic. One should not be selfish, nor should one be over altruistic, forget oneself and think only about others. Give what you can as you can to the needy, and just check and see and experience the joy of letting go. The happiness you can achieve from that, you cannot achieve by just having abundance or being too rich. It's an action that you have to do, not a concept to read and entertain yourself intellectually. So that is how you share and care. For you care, therefore you share. It's an enjoying, experiencing, empirical action that you have to do.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is from Chitra Amarasirivardhana. How can one come out of past action rather than worrying about it?
Come out of what?
How can one come out of past action rather than worrying about it?
If you worry about it, you carry on doing new good actions, and that will neutralize if it is not a very grave action, and you will be compensated not only psychologically by the new action that you have performed. There is no such thing as a fated system or a fixed system or a determined end as such. Everything changes. Transform the bad action by good action. Then you go to the better position. Don't lose hope just because there was a past bad action done by you. You can transform the bad into good. You can transform anger to loving kindness. You can transform your miscellaneous or greed by sharing. You can transform your untruthful character by telling the truth. Don't live in the past and regret about the past. Buddhism is here and now.
Thank you, Bhante, for that wonderful answer.
Pushpa.
Pushpa Kalabovila, yes, she's the lady who sponsored the sermon today.
You try. Honorable Bhantes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Honorable Bhantes, thank you very much for the lovely, very meaningful, very moved discussion given to the youngsters as well as the old generation. Most grateful. Thank you. I know it wasn't the run-on-the-mill kind of sermon. It's all different challenges.
You might want to switch off.
Yeah, I did. Peter's, my husband's one line was I just turned.
Yeah, okay, now we can hear you very well without echo.
Office next to me, we had our own little devices, and the Venerable Akurala Samitha Himi, very nice talk. I think it was very appealing to the young generation who has good Buddhist values, somehow not much into the Buddhism like their older generation. However, one day I'm hoping they will nurture Buddhist. They are Buddhist values, but they will go into more spiritual matters like meditation, vipassana, so on. And one little question I'd like to ask, when we are totally upset and shaken from one calamity, disaster, or even not kindness to animal, all that, and you are sort of getting numbed, you don't know what to do, you have very little influence to stop the making the meat onto the table kind of thing, and you are so distorted and very little you feel you could do. How can one actually survive on that kind of very traumatic thoughts? That's one of my questions. That's my question. And I am at the moment very thankful to Ajit, Dr. Ajit and Arosha, everybody organizing this event so beautifully and accommodating international crowd to the event today. And I may stop with my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pushpa. Forward it to the Bantes. Hamdurne.
Thank you very much. That was a good question, and it was coming from the heart that you are very concerned about how these things are going around us. So, which is not a bad thing. As our Bante mentioned, if we wanted to make a difference, worrying is a good thing because it gives us motivation, it gives us some courage, but over worried is very dangerous. It can make us into a lot of complications and dangers. Even it can limit the abilities of doing good. So therefore, what Buddha mentioned, not to be emotional, but to be wise and more reasoning about the situation. Especially, we have a nature of our mind. Sometimes we feel like nothing, we have not done enough, but Buddha said, just what you have done, just be rejoice in it and continue your good work. And that is what we can do. We can't really do lot of things too much, but in our length, in our capacity, we can make some difference into our life. So one day we can be really happy that what to be done is done, and that is a great satisfaction. Otherwise, what we call taking unnecessary efforts can develop some sort of difficulties emotionally, which is, sometimes, people go to the streets to change the environmental issues, and they destroy and get violent and spread a lot of anger and hatred. Sometimes they do for something good, but they don't see the danger, sometimes the bad that they can even spread in, develop in. So therefore, we need to do something from our heart, being based on our morals without losing our good qualities. So that is the most important. If you can do something like that, that is the great way of living. So being violent, being hurting ourselves is like anger. For example, if you get angry over someone else's fault, what normally people say, you are kind of drinking poison yourself, expecting other to die. So getting anger, being worried means drinking poison, expecting the other person to die, which will not happen. So therefore, what Buddhists call mindfulness is to cultivate, we try to change the environment, but Buddha said that universe stays within us. If we change ourselves, to an extent, we can make a big difference. So be humble. A lot of people are not in the right understanding. By getting angry doesn't make any sense. Be humble and do whatever we can. We call paramita, making perfections. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, Bante, for that wonderful answer. We have one more question from Dula Amarasiri Vardhana to Bhante, why Westerners see Buddhism as a great philosophy rather than a religion?
This is more of a perception of Asians who live in the West. But if you see many of the Westerners who are aligned with, when you say Buddhism, it also entails Mahayana Buddhism and Vajrayana Buddhism. In the Western world, most of the Westerners who practice Buddhism are not Theravada Buddhists. They are either Vajrayana or Mahayana, or some follow Buddhism without any yanas, just open-minded. The intellectual capacity of the Dhamma has a great appeal on them, possibly because they are interested in intellectual ideas. But Buddhism is not a mere philosophy. It has wonderful ethical, moral aspects which are universal and practical. And it is only one part of it which has where a lot of philosophical arguments and debates. The problem is when you divide and think that philosophy is better than religion or spirituality. Wisdom entails all the good things that bring happiness to oneself and others, that makes one to understand and others to understand as well. In that, we need not draw the line that Buddhism is a religion or just Buddhism is a philosophy.
There are problems with related to the religion things, because when you are functioning in the society, there can be a lot of things. People may be disappointed with some religious issues. Even, sometimes I have seen in the hospital when they lose a baby or something, they kind of become disappointed with their faith. There may be some reasons and things like that, that you have to look into a more kind of a common understanding. Once again, to have a bit of open-mindedness, rather just get trapped with words, rather philosophy or a religion. What makes you satisfied? What makes you happy? What makes you peaceful is most. Don't just be trapped onto simple words. Go beyond the words. Language is very limited. So that is a difference between philosophy or religion.
Thank you, Bhante. I hope that was a sufficient explanation. Is there? I don't think there's any more questions except people thanking for the program. Hondamai එහෙමනම් අපිට මේ program මේ අපේ වැඩසටහන දැන් අවසානයේ ලං වෙනවා. මේ බොහෝම සතුටුයි මේ අද වැඩසටහන ගැන මේ තරම් උනන්දුවක් හැමෝගෙම ලැබිච්ච එක. අපිට පුෂ්මා මැතිනියත් මේකට සහභාගී වෙලා මේ දායකත්ව ලැබීමෙන් ඒ ගැන තමන්ගේ හිතේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න දුරු කරගත්තා. ඒකටත් ගැන බොහොම සතුටු වෙනවා. අපි එහෙමනම් ඊතුරු කොටස අපි හඳුන්නේ ඊළඟට අපි ඉතිරිට දෙන කොටස.
අපේ සීලසුමන පණ්ඩිත හාමුදුරුවෝ ගොඩාක් දෙනා සිංහල අය ඉන්නවා. එයාට ආසයි අපේ වචන වලින් හදවතට දැනෙන්න බණපදයක් අහන එක. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා we sometimes listen to the chanting, sometimes we don't understand, but it has a very healing and very soothing. So Sinhala is a beautiful language. So be with us, and our Hamduro will share the final transference of merits and also blessings for Samitha Kalubovila for his 40th birthday in Sri Lankan language. Thank you very much for joining, and we will very humbly and very respectfully invite our Hamduro. We have about 20 minutes for our Hamduro to do a great sermon, as he always been doing in Sinhala. Thank you very much.
Ujjapada Singapore Siri Nayaka Hamdron Vance Milton Keynes Vihara Adipati Ujjapada Akurala Samitha Samindran Vance Pinnatuni මෙතෙක් වේලාවක් අද පවතින සමාජ ගැටලු වලට බුදුදහමින් ලැබෙන විසඳුම ගැන සාකච්ඡා කළා. අපි මේ පිළිබඳව සිංහල භාෂාවෙන් කරුණු කීපයක් කෙටියෙන් සඳහන් කිරීමට කැමැතියි. සමාජය කියලා කියන්නේ පුජ්‍යලයන්ගේ එකතුවක්. ඒ පුජ්‍යලයාගෙන් තොරව සමාජයටත් සමාජයෙන් තොරව පුජ්‍යලයාටත් පැවතිය නොහැකි බව තමයි අපට උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ බුදුදහමෙන් පුජ්‍යලයා වගේම සමාජය පිළිබඳවත් විශේෂ අවධානයක් යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පිළිබඳව බුදුදහමේ සමාජ විද්‍යාත්මක විග්‍රහයක් තියෙනවා. අපේ බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ සමාජ සංවර්ධනයේ පිණිස හේතු වන ආචාර ධර්ම සමූහයක් දේශනා කළා තියෙනවා. සමාජයේ විවිධ ප්‍රශ්න වලට විසඳුම් ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන් වන්නේ බුදුදහමෙන් පමණයි. ඒ බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ සදාචාරමය ජීවන ප්‍රතිපදාවක් දේශනා කළා තියෙනවා අපේ බුදුදහම තුළින්. ඒ පුජ්‍යලයා තුළ මූලික වශයෙන් කායික වාචික වැරදි ක්‍රියාවල වළක්වලා ඒ වෙනුවට යහපත් කායික මානසික නැත්නම් කායික වාචික ක්‍රියාවන් නිර්දේශන කළා තියෙන බුදුදහම තුළින්. අපි වැරදි වලට පෙළඹෙන්නේ හිත කය වචනය තුළින්. ඒ වැරදි ක්‍රියාවල යහපත් පැත්තට අපි යොමු කරන්නට නම් ඒවා අපි සංවර භාවයක් ඇති කර ගන්නට ඕන. අන්නේ සඳහා තමයි අපිට සීලය කියන එක දේශනා කළා තියෙන්නේ. සීලය කියලා කියන්නේ කය වචනේ දෙකේ සංවරකම ඇති කර ගැනීම. ඒ කය වචනේ දෙකේ සංවරකම තුළින් පුජ්‍යලයා තුළ හික්මීමක් ඇති වෙනවා, සංවර භාවයක් ඇති වෙනවා. ඒ ශික්ෂණය තමයි අපේ ජීවිතයට ඉතාම වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. ඒතර ධර්මයේ තුලින් අපිට පුජ්‍යල සදාචාරයත් ඒ වගේම සමාජ සදාචාරයත් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක අපිට මේ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවලින් අවබෝධ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. විශේෂයෙන් මේ බෞද්ධ සමාජ දර්ශනය පිළිබඳව අපිට ඉගැන්වීම් රාශියක් තියෙනවා අපේ බුදුදහම තුළ. විශේෂයෙන් මේ සිංහාලෝවාද සූත්‍ර දේශනාව කියලා කියන්නේ ගිහි විනය සඳහා, ගිහියන් සඳහා දේශනා කරපු සූත්‍ර දේශනාවක්. ඒ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ අවධාරණය කළා තියෙනවා පුජ්‍යල සදාචාරයේ වැදගත්කම. සතර කර්ම ක්ලේශ කියලා පුජ්‍යලෙක් බාහිර චර්යාව පමණක් නොවේ අභ්‍යන්තර අපිරිසුදු භාවය ඇතිවන ආකාරය ඒ ක්ලේශ ධර්ම නැත්නම් පාප කර්ම හතරක් ගැන දක්වලා තිනවා. සතර කර්ම ක්ලේශ කියලා ප්‍රාණඝාතය, අදත්තා දානය, කාම මිච්ඡාචාරය, මුසාවාදය කියලා. ප්‍රාණඝාතය කියලා කියන්නේ සතින් මැරීම, අදත්තා දානය කියන්නේ සොරකම, කාම මිත්‍යාචාරය කියන්නේ කාමයේ වරදවා හැසිරීම, මුසාවාදය කියන්නේ බොරු කීම. මෙන්න මේ ක්‍රියා හතරටම මුල් වන්නේ තමන්ගේ හිතේ තියෙන ලෝභ, දෝෂ, මෝහ කියන අකුසල මූලයන් කියන එක තමයි අපට බුදුදහමෙන් උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර එහෙම ක්‍රියාවන් පුජ්‍යලයා කිලිටි කරනවා වගේම නොඑක් විදිහේ කර්ම ක්ලේශයන්ට පුජ්‍යලයා පොළඹවන බව තමයි මේ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ විස්තර කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට අපි පුජ්‍යලයන් වශයෙන් සතර අගතියට යුක්ත වන පුජ්‍යලයා තුළින් සාධාරණත්වයක් අපේක්ෂා කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. සතර අගති කියලා කියන්නේ අපි අන්තයට යන, කෙලවරට යන කරුණු හතරක් තියෙනවා. ඡන්දා, දෝසා, භයා, මෝහා කියලා. ඡන්දය කියලා කියන්නේ කැමැත්ත, දෝෂ කියන්නේ ද්වේෂය, තරහ, ඒ වගේම බිය, මෝහය කියන්නේ මුලාව, මෝඩකම. මෙන්න මේ කියන කරුණු හතර නිසා පුජ්‍යලෝ වැරදි වැඩවලට පෙළඹෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ අගතිය නිසා තමයි පුජ්‍යලයා නොඑක් ආකාරයෙන් වැරදි වලට පෙළඹෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඒ අගතියට යෑම පුජ්‍යලයාගේ පරිහානියට, පරාභවයට හේතුවක් ඇටියට බුදුදහමේ දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට සිංහාලෝවාද සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ දක්වලා තියෙනවා අපාය මුඛ හයක්. ඒ පුජ්‍යලයාගේ චර්යාව තුළින් පුජ්‍යලයාත් සමාජයත් මේ පැවැත්මට බාධා වන කරුණු හයක් දේශනා කළා තියෙනවා. එන්නේ පළවෙනි කරුණ තමයි රහමෙර පානය කියලා කියන්නේ මත්පැන් පානය. ඒ මත්පැන් පාන නිසා පුජ්‍යලයාට වන හානිය වගේ මේක සමාජයටත් බලපෑමක් ඇති කරනවා මේ මත්පැන් පානය කියන එක. ඊළඟට නොකල්හි වීති සංචාරය, අවේලාවේ වීති සංචාරය කිරීම තුළින් ඒ පුජ්‍යලයාගේ යහපැවැත්මට වගේම දමාජයේ යහපැවැත්මටත් ඒක බලපානවා. ඊළඟට උත්සව සංදර්ශන සඳහා යෑම. ඒක සමබ්ජාවිචරණය කියලා බුදුදහමේ දක්වන්නේ. නොඑක් උත්සව හොයාගෙන නොඑක් සංදර්ශන හොයාගෙන පුජ්‍යලෙක් සංචාරය කරනවා නම් ඒ පුජ්‍යලයාගේ පරාභවයට පිරිහීමට හේතුවක් හැටියට දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම දූ කෙලේ යෙදීම, සූදු ක්‍රීඩාවේ යෙදීම පුජ්‍යලයාගේ පරාභවයට පිරිහීමට හේතුවක්. ඒ වගේම පාප මිත්‍ර ආශ්‍රය, නරක මිතුරන් ඇසුරු කිරීම නිසා පුජ්‍යලයෝ නරක වැඩවලට පෙළඹෙනවා. ඒක මුළු සමාජයටම බලපානවා. ඒ වගේම අලස බව, කම්මැලි බව පුජ්‍යලයාගේ විනාශයට, පුජ්‍යලයාගේ පරිහානියට හේතු වෙනවා වගේ මේක මුළු සමාජයටම බලපානවා. ඒක සංවර්ධනයට බාධාවක්, පුජ්‍යල සංවර්ධනයට වගේම සමාජ සංවර්ධනයටත් බලපානවා මේ අලසකම කියන. මෙන්න මේ කියන කරුණු 6 තමයි අපාය මුඛ 6 කියලා කියන්නේ. පුජ්‍යලේ පරාභවයට පිරිහීමට හේතු වෙනවා. පුජ්‍යලයා පරාභවයට පිරිහිනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක මුළු සමාජයම පිරිහීමක් බවට පත් වෙනවා. ඒතර සමාජයක් කියලා කියන්නේ පුජ්‍යලයන්ගේ එකතුවක්. ඒක මුළු සමාජයටම බලපාන බව තමයි ඒ සිංහාලෝවාද සූත්‍රයේ විස්තර කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර ගිහි විනයට අදාළ අනිකුත් සූත්‍ර දිහා බැලුවත් එහෙමයි. පරාභවය කියලා කියන්නේ පිරිහෙන කරුණු. ඒ පිරිහීම නිසා පුජ්‍යලයා පිරිහෙනවා වගේම සමාජයට ඒක බලපානවා. ඒ වගේම මංගල කාරණා කියන්නේ මෙලොවට වැඩදායක කරුණු 38ක්. 830 මගුල් කරුණු කියලා දක්වලා තියෙනවා. එයින් 32ක්ම දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ මෙලොව ජීවිතයට හේතු වන කරුණු, යහපතට හේතු වන කරුණු. පරලෝක ජීවිතයටත් කරුණු 6ක් දේශනා කළා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම වසල සූත්‍රයේ පුජ්‍යලේ වසල භාවයට පත් වෙන හේතු දක්වලා තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ හැම කරුණක්ම අපේ සමාජයේ පුජ්‍යල දියුණුවට හේතු වන කරුණු හැටියට දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ව්‍යග්ගපජ්ජ සූත්‍රයේ ඇසුරු කළ යුතු මිත්‍රයෝ 4 දෙනෙක් දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඇසුරු නොකළ යුතු අයහපත් මිත්‍රයෝ 4 දෙනෙක් දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ඇසුරු නොකළ යුතු මිත්‍රයෝ හැටියට අඤ්ඤ දත්තුහර, ඒ වගේම අනුප්පිය බාණී, වචී පරම, අපාය සහාය කියලා නරක මිත්‍රෝ 4 දෙනෙක් දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම හොඳ මිතුරන් 4 දෙනෙක් ගැන දක්වලා තියෙන උපකාරක, සමාන සුඛ දුක්ඛ, අනුකම්පක, අත්තක්කායී කියන මිතුරන් 4 දෙනෙක් අපි ආශ්‍රයයට ගත යුතු හොඳ පුජ්‍යලයෝ 4 දෙනෙක් හැටියට දක්වනවා. ඒතර පාප මිත්‍රයෝ කියන්නේ ඇසුරු නොකළ යුතු පුජ්‍යලයෝ. හොඳ මිත්‍රයන්ට කියන්නේ කල්යාණ මිත්‍රයෝ කියන්නේ මෙලොවට වැඩදායක, පරලොවට වැඩදායක විදියට යහපත් උපදේශයන් දෙන හොඳ මිතුරන් ආශ්‍රය කරන්නේ කියලා තියෙන පුජ්‍යලයාගේ දියුණුවට ඒක හේතුවක් හැටියට. ඉතින් අපි මේ සමාජයේ ජීවත් වෙනකොට දෙමාපියන්, ගුරුවරුන්, ඒ ආගමික නායකයන් හැමදෙනාම හොඳ උපදේශයන් දෙන්නට ඕනේ. පාපා නිවාරෙන්ති කියන්නේ පවින් වළක්වන්නට, ඒ වගේම කල්යාණේ නිවේසෙන්ති යහපතේ යෙදවීම සඳහා හැමදෙනාම හොඳ උපදේශයන් දෙන්නට ඕන. එතකොට තමයි සුවිනීතං විනින්ති කියලා කියන්නේ. මනවින් හික්මීමක් ඇති වෙනවා ඒ පුජ්‍යලයා තුළ. අපි කෙනෙක් විනාශයටපත් වෙන නරක විදියට පුජ්‍යලයා පොළඹවන විදිහේ අවවාද අනුශාසනා දෙන්නේ නැතුව මෙලොවට පරලොවට වැඩදායක අවවාද අනුශාසනා දෙනවා නම් තමයි පුජ්‍යලයෝ යහපත් පැත්තට යොමු කරන්න පුළුවන්කම ලැබෙන්නේ. ඉතින් අපි පාසලෙන් අධ්‍යාපන ලබනවායි කියලා කියන්නේ මේ විෂය දැනුම ලබා ගැනීම විතරක් නෙවෙයි. ඒ පැරණි අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමයේ බලාපොරොත්තුනේ විද්‍යා දදාති විනයං කියලා. හික්මීමක් බලාපොරොත්තුනේ. අධ්‍යාපනය කියලා කියන්නේ හික්මීමක් ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් බලාපොරොත්තුනේ. සදාචාර සම්පන්න අධ්‍යාපනයක් තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. අන්නේ සදාචාර අධ්‍යාපනයකින් තොරව ලබන අධ්‍යාපනය ඒ පුජ්‍යලයාගේ විනාශයට හේතුවක් වෙනවා වගේම ඒක මුළු සමාජයටම බලපානවා. ඒ නිසා අපි මේ සදාචාර සම්පන්න අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබනවා නම් ඒක මුළු සමාජයේ යහපතට හේතුවක් හැටියට තමයි අපට බුදුදහමේ පවා උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ගුණවත්කම, හැදියාව කියන දෙපැත්තම අපි වර්ධනය කරගන්නට ඕන. අර මුලින් කියාපු වගේ කුරුල්ලෙකුගේ පියාපත් දෙක වගේ අපි දෙපැත්තම සමතුලිතව සමබරව පවත්වා ගන්නට ඕන. අන්නේ සමබරව පවත්වා ගන්නට පුළුවන්කම ලැබුණොත් තමයි මේ ජීවිතේ පරිපූර්ණ ජීවිතයක් බවට පත් වෙන්නේ. ඒතර තමන් සදාචාර සම්පන්න නොවි ගුණධර්ම නැත්තම් එවැනි අය දෙන උපදේශය හරියට බුදුදහමේ පෙන්වා දීලා තියෙන්නේ තමන් මඩේ එරිලා ඉඳෙද්දී අනිත් අය මඩෙන් ගොඩ ගන්නට උත්සාහ කිරීමක් හා සමාන කරලා තියෙන එක බුදුහාමුදුරු දේශනා කළ තියෙනවා දෙදා විතක්ක සූත්‍රයේදී පුජ්‍යලයා පත්මාකාර ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්නයි කියලා දේශනා කළ තිනවා. අපේ බුදුහාමුදුරන්ගේ ජීවිතය පත්මාකාර ජීවිතයකට සමාන කළ තිනවා. පත්ම කියන්නේ නෙළුමකට සමාන කළ තියෙනවා. නෙළුමක් හටගන්නේ මඩේ. නමුත් ඒක පිපෙන්නේ මඩෙන් උඩ. අන්න ඒ වගේ අපි මේ සමාජයේ නොයිකුත් දුෂ්චරිත සහිත මේ සමාජයෙන් උඩට මතුවෙලා යහපත් පුජ්‍යලයක් බවට පත් වෙනවා නම් ඒක පත්මාකාර නෙළුමක් හා සමාන කරලා තියෙනවා. අන්න එවැනි ජීවිතයක් ගත කිරීම තමයි ආදර්ශ සම්පන්න ජීවිතයක් බවට පත් වෙන්නේ. අපි නීතිගරුක විනයගරුක පුජ්‍යලයන් බවට පුරවැසියන් බවට මේ සමාජයේ ජීවත් වන ආකාරය අපට බුදුදහමෙන් උගන්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ සියල්ලම ධර්මයේ මුල් කරගෙන තමයි අපි ජීවිතය පවත්වා ගන්නට ඕන. ඒක තමයි ඒ ධම්ම දාස න්‍යායෙන් උගන්වලා තියෙන ධර්මයේ කියන එක කැඩපතක් කියන එක කණ්ණාඩියකට සමාන කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ධම්මාදි පතේ කියලා කියන්නේ අපි තීරණයක් ගන්නකොට ධර්මයට මුල් තැන දීලා තමයි කටයුතු කරන්නයි කියලා අපට දේශනා කළා තියෙනවා. ධර්මයෙන් හීන වෙනකොට මිනිසා හරියට වල්මත් වෙච්ච පුජ්‍යලයක් බවට පත් වෙනවා. අර ධර්මේන හීනා පසුබික් සමානක් කියලා බණ පොතේ පැරණි පඬිවරු දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ධර්මයෙන් හීන පුජ්‍යලයා තිරිසනෙකුට සමාන කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට තිරිසනා කියලා මිනිසා අතර විශේෂත්වය තමයි අපිට ගුණධර්ම දියුණු කරන්න පුළුවන් හිතක් තියෙනවා. අන්නේ ගුණධර්ම වලින් අපි පරිහානියට පරාභවයටපත් වුණොත් අපි තිරිසනෙකුට සමාන වෙනවා. එදා ඒ අග්ගඤ්ඤ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ දේශනා කරපු වගේ පුජ්‍යලයා සදාචාරයෙන් තොර වෙනකොට ඒ පුජ්‍යලයා අපේක්ෂිත බලාපොරොත්තු ඒ පුජ්‍යලයෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන යහපත් ගුණධර්ම නැති වෙලා ඒ පුජ්‍යලයා පරාභවයට පත් වෙන ආකාරය තමයි අග්ගඤ්ඤ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම දීඝනිකායේ චක්කවර්ති සීයනාථ සූත්‍රයේ දක්වලා තියෙනවා පුජ්‍යලයේ දිලිඳුකම දරිද්‍රතාවය කියන එක නිසා තමයි පුජ්‍යලෝ මිනීමෙරුම් හොරකම් වලට පෙළඹෙන්නේ. අන්නේ දුෂ්චරිතකම් දුසරිත වලින් පොළඹවන්නට නම් මේ සමාජය තුළ ඒ ධනය නැති පුජ්‍යලෝ නැත්තම් නිර්ධන පුජ්‍යලයා තුළ ධනය උපයන මාර්ග ඇති කළ යුතුයි කියන එක මේ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ධනය නැති ඇත්තෝ ධනය ලබන්නට පුළුවන් විදිය උපාය මාර්ග ධනය උපදවන මාර්ග ඇති කරන්නේ කියන එක තමයි එම සූත්‍ර දේශනාවේ දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපට බුදුදහමෙන් සාන්තියක් සරණක් සුවදායක බවක් ලබා දෙනෝ ඒ යහපත් ජීවිතයක් පවත්වා ගැනීම තුළින් අපි එදිනෙදා කරන ආමිස පූජාවන් තියෙන බුද්ධ වන්දනා බෝධි වන්දනා ආදී වශයෙන් කරන පුද පූජාවන් ඒ පුද පූජාවන් කිරීම පමණක් පුජ්‍යලයන්ට නිවන් දකින්න බෑ කියලා සමහර අයගේ මතයක් තියෙනවා. නමුත් එවැනි ආමිස පූජාවන් අපේ ජීවිතයට අදාළ වෙනවා. ඒක මුල් බුදු සමයේ ආර්ය අෂ්ටාංග මාර්ගය තුලම අන්තර්ගත වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා එදිනෙදා සමාජ ආර්ථික ප්‍රශ්න වලට විසඳුමක් ඒ ආර්ය අෂ්ටාංග මාර්ගය තුල ප්‍රකාශ වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒව තමයි පුරුෂාර්ථ කියලා කියන්නේ. යහපත් ගුණධර්ම කියලා කියන්නේ. මේ ගුණධර්ම තිබුණු තරමට තමයි පුජ්‍යලයාගේ උසස් භාවයට පත් වෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට අපිට වැදගත් වෙනවා පංචශීල ප්‍රතිපත්තිය කියලා කියන්නේ. පංචශීල ප්‍රතිපත්තිය කියලා කියන්නේ විශ්ව සාධාරණ ධර්මතා පහක්. ඒ ගුණධර්ම පහ නැත්නම් මේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති පහ අපේ ජීවිතයට එකතු කරගත්තොත් ඒ පුජ්‍යලයා යහපත් භාවයට පත් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේ මේක සමාජයටම අදාළ වෙනවා. අපි සමාජයට විශ්වාසයක් ලබා දෙනවා අපි හොඳ පුජ්‍යලයෝ යහපත් පුජ්‍යලයෝ කියන එක. අන්නේ විශ්වාසය කඩ වුණොත් අපට ಗುಣ ඉතා උසස් ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්න බැරි වෙනවා. මේ පුජ්‍යලයා දාමරිකෙක් හොරෙක් සුරා සොඬෙක් කියලා සමාජයේ පැතිරුණොත් එයාට ගෞරවාන්විත ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්න බැරි වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි සමාජයට සාතිකයක් ලබා දීමක් තමයි ඒ පංචශීල ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ආරක්ෂා කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. එතකොට මේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති පහ ඕනෑම ආගමක ඕනෑම ජාතියකට ආරක්ෂා කරන්න පුළුවන් ගුණධර්ම පහක්. ඒ පාණාතිපාතා කියන්නේ ජීවත් වීමේ අයිතිය අපි ලබා දීම. ඊළඟට අදින්නා දානා කියන්නේ දීපල අයිතිය. ඒ වගේම කාමීසු මිච්ඡාචාර කියන්නේ යහපත් පෞල් ජීවිතය. ඒ වගේම මුසාවාදය කියන්නේ සත්‍යවාදී බව. ඒ වගේම සුරාමේරය කියන්නේ මතින් තොරව ගත කරන ජීවිතය. මෙන්න මේ කියන කරුණු පහ අපි ආරක්ෂා කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ සමාජයට අපි විශ්වාසයක් ලබා දෙනවා. හොඳ පුජ්‍යලයක් යහපත් පුජ්‍යලයක් කියලා. අන්නේ විශ්වාසය ඊටාම වැදගත් වෙනවා. ඒ තුලින් මුළු සමාජයම යහපත් කරන්නට මේ පංචශීල ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ඉවහල් වෙන බව. ඒ නිසා තමයි විශ්ව සාධාරණ ධර්මතා පහක් ඇටියට මේ පංචශීල ප්‍රතිපත්තිය දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර ওই විදිහට අපිට මේ බුදුදහම සමාජයට වැඩදායක ආගමක් ලෙස සියලුම ප්‍රශ්න වලට විසඳුම් ලබා දෙන උතුම් ආගම ධර්මයක් ඇටියට අප බුදුදහම ගැන සලකන්නට පුළුවන්. ඒ කරුණ ටික විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී සිහිපත් කරමින් හැම දිනාටම තෙරුවන් සරණ ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමින් ඒ පින්දීමේ කටයුතු අපේ ගෞරවනීය හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේට සිද්ධ කරන හැටියට සිහිපත් කරනවා.
Thank you very much, our Pandita Hamdro. Another important thing I would like to mention, our Pandita Hamdro was staying in the temple for the last 6 months. During the very difficult time, I was locked down in Sri Lanka, and he could have gone back to Sri Lanka, but out of great compassion, he stayed at the temple, and he is going back at the end of this month. So we are very grateful to the contribution of our most venerable Hamudro. We are holding a special farewell blessings ceremony to be grateful for his contributions. I invite you all to join for that as well, to say thank you for our Hamudro, our Bante, for making very big support at the very difficult time. The whole world is closed down, but he stayed in the temple and facilitated a lot of chanting, lot of blessings, and to help the community. In addition, also I would like to invite, because these things are being possible, we have the temple here. Temple function and exist with your greatest support. The most important thing is to get the membership or make a small standing order to the temple is the great support that facilitate the welfare of the monks. Many of our devotees like to go to the shop and buy a lot of things. Sometimes we get a lot of excess of those things, so therefore we are wasting a lot of our resources. So I would highly encourage you to make a small contribution to the bank accounts of the temple that facilitate the existence of this temple for the welfare of many. And finally, as we come to the very on time, we supposed to finish by 7, I would like to mention the today's sponsors, being very grateful to host this for the welfare and well-being of the family. The prime aim is to offer blessings to their eldest son on his 40th birthday from the temple. And we have a very senior monks, and we wish you all the blessings. I think this is a very 40th birthday is not a simple one, it's a special birthday. So you got the best of blessings, I think, in your life, and you are very lucky. And particularly your mom is being great blessing, and she was very enthusiastic and very kind of inspirational in making this happen. So we wish you very happy birthday also. Kalubovila parents are delighted to take part supporting the Daham Sisila program today to bless our eldest son, Samitha Kalubovila, turning 40 years end of this month. They are also very proud of Samitha with his kindness, concerns and actions towards working to provide opportunities for less fortunate and minority groups in Greater Manchester. So we were educated with what you are doing. So that is a great contribution for the humanity, especially to lift the life of people who are struggling, and giving them some guidance and standing with them is a great thing. We wish Samitha, also his wife Emma, her birthday comes in July, and also Dhoni, Sriya, and also son baby Dylan Rex, 6 months old. And with the blessings of Noble Triple Gem, we wish you all the good health and happiness. Eldest grandson Nirodha celebrated 7th birthday in July. Wish him best with studies and all the activities he is pursuing. His sisters Asha starting school, 5 years old, and Amiya, year 1, starting nursery in September. May they be blessed with Noble Triple Gem and their parents, Samali and also Nicholas. Finally, the blessings to the baby Nayaka, 7 months old, and her parents Dasal and Ushma. May this noble event will enhance their good health, well-being and happiness to the 3 children, their wonderful spouses and grandchildren. May each one be blessed with clarity of mind and perform just actions for the humankind by living and walking within the Buddhist values. How wonderful your parents and your grandparents to have that wonderful aspirations. They are very special. So may those blessings be with you all. And also to all our other families and the devotees. We will be continuing on Sunday evenings as usual at 5 o'clock these Daham Sisila programs. In the forthcoming 2 weeks, our Hamdro will, as he is leaving back to Sri Lanka, will make a special program. So looking forward to see you all. If you need any support, just give us a message, send us a message. We will keep you informed. Thank you. We will do a short blessing chanting. Then I will pass on to our Dr. Ajit De Silva to close the program. Abhivadana Silissa Niccang Vaddha Pacaino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Eminant Samijjatu Akasatta ca Bhummatta Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakkantu Akasatta ca Bhummatta Devanaga Mahittika Punyantan Anumoditva Chiran Rakkantu Desanang Akasatta ca Devanaga Mahittika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakkantu Mang Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
හොඳයි. දැන් අපේ කාල වේලාව ඉක්මවා ගිහිලා තියෙන හින්දා ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා වඳින ගාථාව
Okasa vandami bante maya katang punyang samina anumoditabbang samina katang punyang mayang databbang Okasa dwara tena katang sabbang Achayang kamatame bante. Okasa kamami bante. Dutiyampi okasa kamami bante. Tatiyampi okasa kamami bante.
Sadhu. හොඳයි අපේ වැඩසටහන මෙතනින් අවසන් වෙනවා. එන සතියේත් මේ වෙලාවටම දහම් සිසල 20න් හම්බ වෙනකම් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම සම්මා සම්බුදු සරණයි. සාදු සාදු සාදු.